A blessed good evening to one and all. I'm here by Holy Innocents Church and School, which is situated along Ashford, St. Thomas. Once more, so this is the primary school here. This is where my first two aunts and my grandparents, my grandmother, and one of my cousins would have received their primary education here at Holy Innocents. So my first two aunts on my mother's side, my grandmother, my great aunts and great uncles would have received their primary education, and other cousins and other distant and close and not so close relatives that have received their primary education here at Holy Innocents. So again, I'm in the parish of St. Thomas, which is in the center of the island. St. Thomas and St. George are the two landlocked parishes here in Barbados that are best referred to as the heart of Barbados, or the central uplands of Barbados. So there is no sea nor coastline in these parishes. These are the two landlocked parishes in Barbados. So again, I'm in the parish of St. Thomas, the beautiful parish of St. Thomas. This is the primary school building, which has the mural graphic on it that was done by Miss June Connell in 2005. There's a mural graphic on the school building. So Holy Innocents Church sits at Ashford, sits on Ashford Long Road. This Ashford is spelled A-Y-S-H. So this is the section in the churchyard of a person who died of cholera, who died from the cholera disease, buried over this side here. So all under here is Harrison's Care. Harrison Care runs all under here. That is where the side that when service is going on at the church, that the organ from the church vibrates into the cave. So this is the church cemetery now where they bury the people. Since the cemetery in the church is filled, they have to bury the people over here now. So this is all Ashford Long Road. This Ashford is spelled A-Y-S-H-F-O-R-D. So this is where I have lots of family buried in this churchyard. Lots of ancestors laid to rest in this churchyard. my great aunts, great uncles, cousins, one aunt, which is my second aunt, my mother's second sister, and some other family members, which I have laid to rest here at Holy Innocents. Before I go into the church cemetery itself, I will go into this cemetery first. So I will go into this church cemetery where I have family laid to rest. In this church cemetery here, my great aunts, my great uncles. So my great grandmother, Keelan Levine, is laid to rest here, as well as my great grandmother, Keelan Levine, which many refer to as Ann Key, who was from Carrington's Village, St. Thomas. She died in 1987, in May 1987, at the age of 95. Obviously, that was before I was born. And I also have a my great aunt and great uncles are laid to rest here, such as Gorman Levine, Organite, which is my first great aunt. That would be my mother's first aunt. That would be my grandmother's sister, first sister. And also, yes, my great aunt, Organite. She passed away in 2006, October, at the age of 92. She was from Chapman's Village, St. Thomas. Well, she is laid to rest here, as well as my great uncle Gorman Levine, and I have many relatives. My second aunt, Glendine Levine, buried here. So this is another one of my family members' grave, Golda Delcina Brown, which should be my first great aunt, Organite's daughter, Golda Brown's grave. Born the 11th of July 1939 and died December 24th, 2023. And the grave of Clemming Mondale Walker, who was a kind of relative, but she'll be my cousin's grandmother. My cousin, who was the principal at Alma Parish School, that would be her grandmother, Clemming Mondale Walker from the Rock Road in Richmond Hall, St. Thomas, who died earlier this year. And her brother, Norman Noel Boyce, aka Pompey. He was one of the founders of Harrison's Cave, which is just up the road. He was one who helped to pave the way for the cave to be what it is today. This is the pasture behind the church, the playing field light. The guy that died earlier this year, Jaden Kimara Gibbs Reed, and James Hamlin's wife, Marianne Hamlin, who was born. Her birthday is the same as mine, the 23rd of October. I was born the 23rd of October, 1993. Marianne Hamlin was born the 23rd of October 1947 and died the 17th of May 2025. That would be James Hamlin's wife. So both husband and wife are dead. So I can trace my ancestry here in this churchyard, here at Holy Innocents Anglican Church. So I have one great aunt that is left. She's the only one I have living. She sings in the choir. She's also a member of this church. She sings in the choir. So Raj Mahal will be up this way by the post office, St. Thomas Post Office. So this pavement was placed here between late 2013 or early 2014 for motorists, for pedestrians walking the road so they won't have to walk too close to the traffic. That is where they placed the pavement here on this road, along this road. I had to move the church wall and build it back. And all sort of things I had to do. So this is the church cemetery wall. So I will now go through the church yard itself. Now, I'll go to the church yard itself. Now and show you inside of inside of the church yard. Graves inside the church. So as I said before, because of the lack of space, is the reason why they don't bury people over here anymore. Grave of Mildred Gooding, W.T. George Gooding and his wife Mildred Gooding, and their children Jeffrey and Sheila. So this is another historic church dates back to 1838 and consecrated in 1839 for the Innocents as an Anglican church. In this family grave, are Vivian Innes and Frederick James Innes, Sarah Ann Richards, Keelan Richards, Helen King Richards, Rebecca Gill, Constance Richards Gill, and Mort Innes Henderson, Ernest Henry Henderson Innes, John Coleridge Innes, James Reginald Innes, James Reginald Bertram Innes, William King Innes, Hannah Letitia Innes, and Hubert Manning Innes. You do not bury people in here anymore, except it is a boy grave or family grave, where the person would have paid for the spot to be buried here. Mr. Charles Grave, who died on the 7th of October 1938 at the age of 73 years. The section over here for persons who died of cholera. So this is the church, Holy Innocents Anglican Church, another historic church in Barbados. The grave of John W. Carrington, who died the 22nd of January 1889 at the age of 53. And in memory of Margaret Williams, wife of John W. Carrington of Richmond Hall Plantation, who died the 3rd of November 1881 at the age of 67. Walter Philip Smith and Elizabeth Hoyce Trotman, his wife. Walter Codrington Carrington Smith and his wife Olive Worrell, Beatrice Lyle Smith and Phoebe Worrell Smith. So this is a beautiful country church. This is a beautiful church here in the side of Barbados, in the heart of Barbados. the vicarage grounds. The vicarage grounds here where the rectory is. See the barefoot tree behind here. So this is the beautiful countryside here. This is the bell here. The bell was placed in this belfry here from the late 80s, sorry, 89, 90, when they built this front porch here. They took down the bell from here and placed it in here. So the rectory grounds, the official residence of the priest, but unfortunately the current priest doesn't live there.
Excuse me, I want to get something to take me home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
How far you gonna walk?
The bus stop right there.
Are you getting here?
Yeah. Holy Innocents Church. The grave of former organist Hudson Dretz. He and his wife laid to rest here. He's another relative of mine. So this is all the vicarage grounds here. The vicarage. The last priest to live here was the Reverend Everton Light, who was the priest here from 1987 to 2011. The Maycock family grave here. The Mears family grave. All the Mears family grave. And nurse, Alan Howard Nurse, born 1867 and died in 1946. Lindsay Ursa Rayburn Gill, born 1911 and died in 1973. And the beloved mum, Eleanor Marjorie Paris Niski, born 1926 and died in 2020. Doreen Curleen Nichols, beloved wife of Cuthbert Nichols, who died on the 18th of November 2012. The Brown, Florence Teresa Brown. And Gladstone Theophilus Brown, born 1920 and died in 2000. So this churchyard is very big, but unfortunately they don't bury people in here anymore. Denzel Grafton Knight, this is the Knight family. So Richmond Hall up this way. Holy Innocents Anglican Church. Thanks for watching now and have a blessed evening. And stay tuned for more videos of Barbados. This road will lead you back to Bryan's Road in Richmond Hall, which is known to many as the Line. The old school was here first, the boys' school was here. Which was Holy Innocents Boys was here. The Holy Innocents Boys was here when it later became the Vickers Club. Thanks for watching now, guys, and have a blessed evening.